Above ground, it's just a typical forest. But deep underneath the surface lies one of the most challenging underwater cave systems in Europe. Gliding effortlessly through its ancient cave feels like time stands still. But you're always driven by the question, what's around the next corner?
We want to push on further. We're looking to find the continuation.
It keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the water's got to be coming from somewhere.
This project is absolutely thrilling, though it's quite the challenge as well.
Definitely very exhausting. You need a bit of basic fitness, really. I do a lot of extra sport on top of that. Otherwise, I'd have hit my physical limits.
Some people ask, why are you putting so much effort into a project just so someone else can dive to the end? These comments make me reflect on society and why people think satisfaction only comes from being number one. We don't see things in terms of winners and losers. We're friends who just trust each other with our lives. We think in terms of friendship, adventure, and accomplishing impossible tasks that only can be achieved as a group. It's insane. They go there, camp in the forest for more than a week, work physically hard, and risk a lot. All this effort, and in the end, the two push divers might just come back with nothing. This is Team Cavebase. Friends, buddies, and technical cave divers who are desperate to find continuation in the Gourneyrou Cave system.
There's quite a lot of water in the cave this year, which is both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, we've got less room up here for all our kit, but on the flip side, it makes it a doddle to get into the water. So, all in all, it's actually better, because we can get more divers in at once and a lot quicker, which makes us more efficient.
We're diving mixed gas to a serious depth, and we're doing it over and over. For a tech diver, it's like doing a 90-meter dive 6 times on the trot, which is pretty full on.
The term technical cave diving feels actually completely meaningless. We often share our dives on social media, and so it's easy to get lost in those discussions. We love those projects, as they make you appreciate the value of true friendship and belonging.
Cavebase has been to no other cave more often, nor have we struggled more anywhere else, and we're absolutely keen to find a way to continue here. With all the adventure that comes with it, the trek down into the valley, hauling all the gear, and the camp vibes. It's just a crackling spot in stunning nature. And the cave itself, it's an absolute blast to dive.
As with last time, the team once again has to install a ropeway to safely transport approximately 2 tons of equipment from the mountain station by the middle station down to the valley station.
We rigged up a ropeway and shifted about 2.5 tons of kit down there.
This time, a habitat is once again required. Essentially, an artificial air bubble that allows the divers to decompress in a dry environment.
I'm the instructor for practicing the habitat entry, and we'll use Mats as the volunteer. He'll be the one going in first.
A habitat is almost mandatory. The push divers have such long decompression times that decompressing in the water would be far too dangerous. Safely entering the habitat is an extremely critical moment. Every move must be practiced, as any mistakes here can lead to a person drowning quickly.
Yeah, we run a cable into the habitat and there's a phone on both ends, so we can have a natter with the push divers in there. They can order grub, gases, drinks, or even just a cuppa.
The team now decides how to equip the habitat. Brake gas, oxygen, argon tanks, rebreathers, weight belts, heating tubes, and drink packs. With limited space, everything must be placed precisely so the push divers can reach it all easily.
We're all out of the water now, sorting our gear, covering it up a bit from the rain, and then it's back to the camp.
Everything is in its place. Technically, we could push to the end tomorrow, but that's not our way. Instead, tomorrow every team member will have the chance to enjoy cave diving for themselves. We're here as friends, making sure everyone can fully experience the thrill of cave diving in this extraordinary place. It's a new day. And we'll all gather for breakfast before making the most of it. With many teams eager to dive, Ollie will manage and plan the day to ensure everyone gets their turn to enjoy the experience. After a short walk to the cave, it's time for diving.
MCM and I are about to dive in. We're heading up to the second bend. We've got some arrows marked with the meter measurements, and we're going to hang them on the line at the right spots.
My plan, or rather our plan, is to dive down to the first bend. For me it's especially tough since I'm the only open circuit diver, which makes it pretty demanding because I'll be using up all my gas, so I need to make sure I bring enough with me.
670 euros. The good thing is, he'll hang on to a third of it.
After 2 hours, David safely returns to the surface.
Yeah.
Well done, David. You've proven it.
Open circuit diving isn't dead.
He's just done a 600 euro dive.
See, diving does hurt.
That was the best dive I've ever done.
We're going to dive the 2 bends down to 30 metres as a group of 4, like 2 pairs, and I'd call it a fun dive. A tough, but fun dive.
Yeah, heading in with Magnus today for my first dive in this cave. We're aiming to go down to about 45 metres, keep it chill, scope things out, and just get a feel for it.
The cave's pretty friendly, if you ask me. Lots of winding turns, even though it's mostly just one big corridor. It's got an exciting and challenging profile, even in the first 500 meters up to the first restriction. In the shallow parts, there's quite a bit of up and down. And then there's that first bend. So much fun to zip through there with a scooter. It's just an amazing cave. Light-coloured rock. Beautiful.
As the last few people leave the water, Max and Ollie head back to the camp to finalise the remaining planning details.
Meine Argon droppe ich natürlich noch hier irgendwo, ne? Ja, genau. Eigentlich da, wo wir den Bailout-Check machen dafür. X plus Zeit. Aufstehen.
Get up, take a quick dip in the River Viz, do the morning hygiene routine, grab some coffee, then get changed and aim to start the dive at 7 o'clock.
Wollen abtauchen.
It's getting dark at camp. The day is drawing to a close. Now's the last chance to review every detail for tomorrow's dive. The entire team needs to go to bed early. No party, no drinks, so they stay fit for the next day, which will be exhausting for everyone.
It's just gone 5 to 5. So we're going to jump into the cold river now, and then, well, we'll all be raring to go.
Only MCM and David are up, supporting Ollie and Max in the morning. The rest of the team stays in bed to stay fit for the support dives later.
It's bang on 5:30 now, and we want to head off in 20 minutes. We're right on track.
Nee, hier, eine Violette Kaffee bitte. Ja. Das hat der Max vorbereitet.
Meanwhile, it's 6 o'clock. There's only 1 hour left until they plan to start their push dive. Ollie and Max are fully focused on the dive. Every move is routine, with MCM and David assisting and double-checking everything. There's no room for mistakes. Everything must go perfectly, or it would all be for nothing. We've done all we can, and now we can only hope that Max and Ollie uncover a new passage, finding which will be the ultimate reward for all our efforts.
Both divers are in the water, all the checks were a go, nothing came loose, and it all worked perfectly. We're feeling motivated, just the right mindset for a dive like this.
For now, it's just a matter of relaxing and waiting.
Mads and Jelka are getting in the water now. It's 10:30. They're diving down to meet Ollie and Max, bringing along a nice newspaper, a backup scooter, and making sure the two are all right.
Schauen, ob es denen gut geht.
Through the first restriction at about 30 meters, and just beyond that, at around 24 meters, we'll be waiting for the lads.
Zelka and Mads are on their way. But to our surprise, they return much earlier than expected. Something must have gone wrong.
So Chelka and I dived down to bring the weight from the habitat to the 24-metre depot. But we saw some lights down there, so we instantly realised that Max and Ollie were already back. I asked if everything was all right, and they were all good. Max mentioned they'd explored about 200 metres of new territory, and after the last bend, it actually goes up again, back to 26 metres.
Letzten Knick tatsächlich wohl auch nochmal hochgeht, wieder auf 26 Meter.
Ollie and Max are back. They found a new passage. How is that even possible? We weren't expecting them for another 2 hours. Now plans have to change quickly to get them safely into the habitat.
But things moved a bit quicker for Max and Ollie, so now the habitat support divers need to get ready.
Support-Taucher jetzt fertig machen.
Chop chop. Get in the water.
The two of them are lying there, nice and relaxed, just waiting to get into the warm, dry habitat.
MCM and David didn't even leave the water. After a few minutes, they submerged again to expertly guide Ollie and Max into the habitat. From this point on, they're safe. A tremendous relief for everyone, as the risk of anything going wrong is now minimal. It's a 3-hour stay in the habitat. Time for some lunch, which Aileen and Mads are just about to prepare.
Oof, that's hot. Yeah, we just need those two to show up and then we can get the grub into the cave. Come on, hurry up! It's getting nippy! It's getting nippy!
Den Tee haben Sie schon, heißen Tee?
They've already got some hot tea and we're hoping they'll get the 5-star meal all good and proper.
Gut reinkriegen.
Okay, alright, how long? I mean, how much longer do you need to stay in the habitat? 80 minutes, in the habitat? Okay, alright, then we're all set. 3:40 p.m, yeah. Pretty much exactly. So I reckon they laid about 300 metres of new line, since the reel had 500 metres on it, or just under that. I'd say around 300 metres, maybe even a bit more. We'll have to count the knots later. There was a knot every 10 metres. I'll measure it up afterwards. We're diving now to guide them out, and that'll take about another half an hour, as they'll be coming up really slowly for the last bit, to avoid any risks right at the end. Hopefully, in a good half an hour, we'll hear the full report on everything that went down.
Ollie and Max are on the final few meters. Once they surface, they'll continue breathing oxygen, which is literally their last decompression stop.
We found it! It goes up a bit, you know, like this. It sort of went like this, kind of angled around, maybe about 100 to 120 degrees to the left. I looked up, saw that pointed tip up there. Looked just like Vilka said. Come back! There it is!
The first big moment was definitely picking up the end of the line from 2022. Then pulling the line from there and finding new ground. That was the key moment too. And finally placing our big cookie there. Heading back, getting into the habitat and, of course, surfacing again. That's always a great feeling, an amazing moment.
We found a continuation. All the hard work of the past years has finally paid off. It's a moment of triumph and joy. Now it's time to celebrate. Team Cavebase, united by friendship, driven by adventure, and strengthened by knowledge. Together, they've shown that the greatest journey is the one shared with friends.
Es ist körperlich brutal anstrengend.
Einfach nur geil. Also Beharrlichkeit hat sich ausgezahlt.
So, ich muss kurz drüber nachdenken.
Okay, nicht.
Rauskam und dann nachgetreten wurde. Aber ihr werdet es weiter trocken. Ich versuche den jetzt irgendwie wieder in Gang zu kriegen, weil wir sonst hier gar nichts mehr erzählen.
Die drei großen Taucher beim